And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, always presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out at bangtail.com. And of course, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas, honkytonktexas.us. Appreciate all the work that our sponsors do out there too as well. Of course, you can catch us at hightidecountry.net and always shows archived at the Sports Guys podcast.com. We're pleased to welcome in, of course, longtime member of the band Lone Star out there here to the Backstage Pass. Dean Sams joins us here on the show. Dean, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Yeah, and longtime member, I put the band together 31 years ago. Can't believe. Yeah,
That's
it's been a long time.
that's crazy. Well, let's start right there with that number because I'm a man of numbers here when it comes to sports. I love it too. Okay, 31 years
Yeah.
of a career with one of the greatest marquee bands of all time, known as Lone Star. Too. Talk about that, and I guess just kind of highlight on some of the career achievements with the past members, and of course what has made this band that strong for over 3 decades.
Well, first of all, the longevity is 100% due to the fans. I mean, they just have latched onto us and been so great to us over the years. I mean, still 31 years later, I mean, we're playing every night. It'll vary. Some nights it's 3,000 people. We just did a show up in Wisconsin 3 nights ago. There was over 7,000 people there. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get, but we have a lot of fans out there. So the longevity is definitely because of them. This journey started, like I was saying, 31 years ago. I moved to Nashville, and I had enough people tell me, "Man, you're good. You ought to move to Nashville. You could probably make it big," and blah blah blah. And so I, like a crazy person, listened to him, moved here, and fortunately, the man upstairs, he gave me enough intellect and I guess the fortitude to get out of my own ego's way. And I was walking around and hearing different people sing and going to a bunch of writers' nights and stuff. And I figured out pretty quickly I'm not as good as these people are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I'd been the leader of every band I'd ever been in Texas, and we're, all from Texas. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just said, "Hey, I'm gonna put a band together." And Lone Star is the culmination of me putting this band together. 2.5 years of traveling around in my two-door Jeep Cherokee, pulling a U-Haul trailer,
Mm-hmm.
led to a few showcases, which led to a record deal, which
Mm-hmm.
started really an amazing career. 10 number one songs, 22 top 10 singles. We've sold over 10.5 million records. Been either nominated or won every award that's out there. We've had 5 Grammy nominations, one ACM CMAs, International Artist of the Year, Vocal Group of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
Single Song of the Year. I mean, we've been super, super blessed.
To be that blessed, let's build on that a little bit. Takes the chemistry, takes the guys kind of like of a team in sports. There's no I in team. We've heard that expression before too. You're only as good
Yes.
as the coaches and the teammates around you. Talk about just whether it's members of the band and of course really the cohesiveness and the chemistry that a band has to be that successful for that amount of time.
Well, it does take teamwork. And that's really one of the great things I love about being in a band because, these solo artists, I'm sure it's great on one hand. They don't have to ask anybody permission to do anything, and whatever decision they make is the decision they make. But man, there's just something about having a group of people that, you have to get on the same page with, you have to work together with, you have to just put in a lot of effort and make a lot of sacrifices in order to have the level of success that we've had. And I tell you, this success happened because we all kind of got on the same page and we're able to make some really amazing music happen.
Let's talk about this new album, 10 to 1, which does feature a fresh look at the 10 of the chart topping country songs out there, too, as well. Working with this, putting out this record, which I think is fantastic, too. Vocals, instrumentation, production of this record is amazing. I've really enjoyed listening to it. How cool was it to step back in the studio and kind of take these 10 songs and knowing that, this really highlighted so much of the decades of the hits with No News and Come Crying to Me and of course, Amazed and What About Now and all these great songs, and really kind of re-image these things and put them
Yeah.
out there with great vocals and the members that you work with.
Well, first of all, the guys gave me the amazing gift of letting me produce this record. I've actually, including this one, I've produced our last 6 records, but this was quite the task to take on our number ones and to reimagine those in the way that we are today. And it was such a great joy. And I mean, Michael and Keith are such amazing players. And I make a joke every night in our show. I say, we have a new record called 10-1 that's out now, and we've been doing this for over 31 years together. And then I'll go, how many of y'all bought one of our records? And fans will raise their hand or whatever, and I go, I'm sorry, because we were just figuring it out back then. But you do something long enough, you hopefully get good at it, and we feel like we're better than we've ever been, which has culminated in this 10-1 record. So, and speaking of 10-1, look at this. I'm gonna show you this.
Oh man, look what you did with
Vinyl.
Yes.
Vinyl. It's not out yet, but I have one of the first copies, and look at that sucker. Look at that sucker. Wow.
I love that.
So it was a blast making this record, and once again, the guys just trusted me to kind of lead the ship on this. And Michael and Keith are such great players and did a great job. I did the best I could do playing, and and Drew, golly, what a singer he is, and really brought a nice, fresh, soulful approach to these number one songs.
When you look at all the ones on there, was there one that was may have been more challenging than another one to kind of remake and put the production to? Was there one or a couple more that really kind of stood out that were challenging, even though they were number one hits?
Yeah, well, see, that was the thing. So we had to walk that balance of, our fans that have been with us all these years, they want to be able to, even if you're re-recording them, they want to be able to sing along. They want to be able to, they don't want it to be so different that they don't know what's happening. And so we walked that balance of what we could change and what we couldn't change. But the one that we changed the most, and I brought this idea to the guys, and, at first they kind of looked at me sideways and like, I'm not sure. But our number one song, you mentioned it a minute ago, Come Crying to Me. For some reason, that song, even though it was a number one record, every time we tried to put it in our live show, it just felt like it laid there. It like the crowd that was when they took the bathroom breaks. And, and I don't know why. So I really wanted to bring a fresh approach to this. And I had gone to this concert, which is odd because we were in the midst of doing this record. I normally don't go to concerts, and I went to see this band called the Lumineers.
Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah,
and they were doing this song, and as they're doing this song, it kind of had this 4 on the floor thing, and I started, and it had all these vocals and stuff, and I started thinking, man, Come Crying to Me would sound good like that. So we started messing with that idea. And so that one is nothing like the original. We added this harmony part. It's kind of a chant that the crowd can do every night live, and it really has just gone over great. So that's the one that was the most challenging, but also I think was one of the most rewarding.
Tell me a little bit about always interested in how kind of album covers get formed and really express the album itself too. Tell me about just the artwork and how you guys chose to come across, which is a fantastic album cover for 10-1.
Well, thanks. I'll show it up here again. So we were talking about different ideas of what to do for the album cover, and everybody was kind of at a loss. And so I have this program, I'm sure a lot of people have it. It's called Pages. And I started thinking, well, we've had all these big hits and they go number one on Billboard. So I was just trying to create something that wasn't exactly, but it kind of alluded to like Billboard, and then create, just kind of an illusion of that without being that. And I literally got on Pages and created what this artwork is, and I call it the low rent version, because I'm not a graphic artist or anything. And I presented that to everybody, and everybody loved it. And then turned it over to an actual graphic designer who took my redneck version and made it what you have today.
I'm not in any way. I do graphics too, but I'm not in any way the graphic designer, the polished version of that. So, like I said, I do what I can, and then, like you said, turn it over to the best of the best who know what they're doing, and let them, like I said, just take the reins and do what they do by letting it go here. We got to go take a quick time out here on the show. Again, it's the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, also HighTideCountry.net, our internet radio station out of Oklahoma. More with Dean Sams. We'll talk 10 to 1. We'll also recap some of the songs on the previous records they put out too as well. More here, word from our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with Dean Sams on the Backstage Pass, of course, talking about the album 10 to 1, which is out there across all the digital platforms. Make sure you go check it out and stream it here, of course, and check us out on HighTideCountry.net. Go subscribe to YouTube and all the different socials out there, too. Hey, I want to go back to one before. It was 2016. You guys came out with Never Enders, and I found some really cool tracks on there, including the title track there. And then I Know It Was You. One of my favorite ones being from Texas down here too, and obviously you guys too, My Own Hometown. Let's talk about, really start there with My Own Hometown and recap this record and kind of hit on some of the highlights for Never Enders.
Yeah, My Own Hometown, it was, it's really, the title says a lot. And there's so many things about, I was one of the writers on that song and just wanted to create a mood of, when we go away from home to chase our dreams and our aspirations and stuff, that a lot of times it takes you away from the places and the people that mean the most to you. And I love the fact that it feels, musically it feels nostalgic, and then lyrically it is nostalgic, and truly one of my favorite tracks on the Never Enders record.
Yeah, I love it too. A lot of highlights on there too as well, because I think the title track too, where did it kind of originate from? A little backstory of Never Enders.
Well, Never Enders, a song that was co-written with Marv Green, who actually he co-wrote Amazed for us. And just sitting in a writer's room talking about our career. And, we've been through a lot of ups and downs in our career. And but the one thing that has stayed consistent is our relentlessness to just always move forward and always keep pushing and keep doing shows and keep writing songs and keep recording. And I believe Marv threw out the title, man, it seems like you guys are never enders. And really that's how that song, came about. And one thing I love about, if you look at the title, the album, there's a picture of us on the front that we're facing the camera, right? And then there's a lot of, there's this long, we did it on a runway. And so there's all this, road behind us, which was symbolic for Never Enders. We've been going a long ways, but then you flip over on the back side of the record and it's from behind us standing the exact same thing, but there's a long way to go in front of us. And it was very symbolic. I don't know how many people picked up on that when they saw the record, but it's like we've gone a long ways, but we got a long ways to go because we're Never Enders.
Amazing album. Love it a lot too. I got to ask you about that chart topping one that always, when it comes on the radio, or it's like I say, even the version now, which is fantastic on the album 10 to 1. I love Mr. Mom. We always have when it comes down to it, just because being a parent now for the first time, you realize how tough it is to raise a 3-year-old, at least for me. And I realized how much my wife means to me. I always have known that. I've been married almost 12 years, 13 years now. But looking back at it, this is one that's so special, named for so many people, special place in their hearts. What a track and what a ride that thing has been on for years.
Well, the song itself, I'll just tell you, when we first decided to record this song, I mean, I was livid. I was not happy. I made the joke at one point in time because, we'd already had I'm Already There. We had Front Porch Looking In. And we had a song called Let Them Be Little. And, I felt like we were kind of becoming a one-trick pony, and I made the joke. I was like, golly, we're like one step away from being the Wiggles. And I was just worried that this song was going to kill us. And fortunately I was wrong, which happens a lot in my life. I'm wrong a lot. But and I'm glad I was. But this song, it's crazy. I mean, like we just did. I mentioned the show we did a couple nights ago. It was in front of 7,000 folks, and most of them were, I'm going to say, 80% of them were under the age of 30, and probably 50% were under the age of 25. And when we got to Mr. Mom, I mean, they lost their minds, and they were jumping around, hands going. I mean, I don't know what they attached to it. I know like what you attached to. I know what I attached to. I know what Mom's attached to. But these younger people, I don't know what they gravitate towards too about it, but they do. And they sing every word louder than at one point in time. We just stopped singing and let them sing, and it was out of control.
What a song, I tell you. And I'll tell you another one off that album, too, that I love so much, and it continues to be featured in, weddings and bar mitzvahs and people's special events even today. Speaking of those love songs, Amazed really just a special place in everybody's heart. And I think there's probably fan mail you guys get on it, or letters written to just meeting people in public to talk about this. We always talk about how important the fans are to music, but and for you guys. But that song, I'm sure, has gotten a lot of fan mail and just continues to attract even new couples today.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of letters and emails over the years, and posts, comments on our socials. And I mean, it's endless. The number of people that have said Amazed has. We
lost Dean there for a second. Hopefully getting back here on the Backstage Pass, going over the great album 10 to 1. There you are. We're back here. That's why we call it here.
Oh, sorry.
It is.
Sorry about that. Yeah. I had a call, and so I had to flip.
It's all good. You swiped up. You did good there. No, we're just talking about Amazed there too. And that's why I tell people, like I said, it is broadcasting. It is media. So sometimes you just got to keep going. The show must go on too. But this song, like you mentioned, the fan mail, the letters, and even the new couples today attracting to this song.
Yeah. And it's really a testament of, I say this in our show every night, but it has been such a massive worldwide hit that it told me that there's either a lot of folks out there in love or a lot of people that want to be in love. And I think that's why that song has caught so many people's hearts and attention. And this new version of it on the 10 to 1, I mean, it stays pretty true to the original recording, although I feel like it's played and sang even better than the original. And to touch back on Mr. Mom too, the latest version on the 10 to 1 record of Mr. Mom, we added some cool things that aren't on the original. Had Michael put a cool baritone guitar on it. We added like this breakdown in the middle where Keach gets to groove on the drums, kind of a breakdown moment. So there are just some really fun, energetic, cool moments on the 10 to 1 record for these big hits, including Amazed and Mr. Mom.
These songs have stood the test of time over the 3 decades you mentioned there. And I really feel like, having talked to people at the past couple of CRSs and even people just in general through emails and being in the business too here in the media, thirsty, for people to come back and really there's a hunger now for this 90s country feel to come back for these type of songs. What are you kind of putting it on the radar there too? Kind of what are you hearing and kind of what's your opinion now? Because I think some of these artists are doing a great job of not only doing their own music, but they're showing a lot of the appreciation for what came before them.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the 90s country thing is definitely back in a big, big way. I'll tell you, last year, touring-wise, we had our biggest grossing year we've had in our career. And
wow.
I'm talking about even when we were at the top of our game, having hit after hit after hit after hit, we had our highest touring year, biggest touring year last year in our career. And this year is following right in line with that. So it tells me that I think people are just hungry for what we used to do and what we still do. I mean, I
Mhm.
love, there's so many great artists out there. And so, in anybody that has success in this day and time, I mean, I'm rooting for, because it's not an easy business. But if you listen to a lot of the artists today, I mean, it's hard to tell who is who, because a lot of them sound the same, and a lot of the tracks, have the same groove,
Mhm.
and a lot of the melodies kind of pretty similar, and there's just not a lot of differentiation between artists. And I think in our time, it was focused on content, what the lyric was. There was
Mhm.
great melodies, and they were all different. You could listen to, you listen to, I mean, whoever. You listen to us, you listen to Clint Black, you listen
Mhm.
to, a Tracy Bird, you listen to a Phil Vassar, you listen to a
Mhm.
Diamond Rio. Everybody had their own lane, and nobody sounded like. And so I feel like people are really searching for that music that grabs your heart and has
Mhm.
different soaring melodies, and some differentiation.
We lost a great one, Dean. There, I believe it's toward the end of last year. I wanted to ask you about this because actually, Crystal Gale actually came to Beaumont here, put on a concert, and it was one of the best ones I'd ever gone to at the old Jefferson Theater down here too, which is downtown Beaumont. Losing Loretta Lynn and the impact it
Oh
had
wow.
on country music too, and as long as you guys have been around, did you ever get a chance to meet her? And if so, talk about just some memories and just the impact she made as a female on country music.
I did get to meet her. I used to work, before I put Lone Star together. I used to work at Opryland, which, now it's a mall, but it used to be a theme park, and it
Hmm.
had great killer live musicians and amazing shows from all genres of music. But I was in a show called Country Music USA,
Hmm.
and it told the story of country music. Started back with the Carter family, worked its way through, modern day, music. And Loretta Lynn was obviously part of that show, or at least someone impersonating Loretta
Hmm.
Lynn was part of the show. And so we all got to meet her as part of the cast. She came and visited, and what she was such a great songwriter. She was such a great inspiration to women, not just in music, but just women in general, because of her strong lyric and her stance on, her values and things, which, are great core values for just in general we should all have. But
Hmm.
I think she was very empowering for women, which I think is a great thing. And just iconic. But
Hmm.
I think the thing that stands out the most about her is she was so genuine. She was so kind.
Hmm.
And I think in this world we could use a few more people that could be kind and giving like she was.
Got to ask you about another female that made the impact on music out there, still hosting, doing her thing, recording records, and doesn't seem like she's going to retire at any point anytime soon. Dolly Parton, and just what she's meant to country music too. I'm sure, obviously, you guys have crossed paths in the past, and definitely, I mean, again, I just think she's putting her impact. New album coming out, all these new songs. She's not slowing down, Dave.
She is not, and she is what they might call a unicorn, because you don't find someone like her, but maybe once in a lifetime, and she is truly that, a once in a lifetime iconic person. But super genuine and sweet. Also, we did a show with her a couple years ago at the Ryman Auditorium here in
Hmm.
Nashville, and went into her dressing room and spoke to her for a few minutes, and got our picture with her, which was my first time to meet her. And, and she goes, "Now, how are you, honey?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a little nervous." She took that as I was nervous to do the show.
Hmm.
And she goes, "Oh, you just go out there and do your best, and you love them, and they'll love you right back." And I said, "Well, I appreciate that." I said, "I'm not nervous to do the show." I said, "I'm nervous to be standing here with you." And she started laughing. She goes, "Oh," she goes, "With this hairdo and these things, And she's just so funny, so kind, and to be such a legendary,
Hmm.
iconic unicorn,
Hmm.
to be the sweet, kind, amazing person she is. And I really admire the fact that she's such an intelligent business person.
Hmm.
And I also love the fact that she doesn't. she doesn't start slinging her political views and stuff out there. When people ask her about that, she goes, "Listen, I'm an entertainer. People
Mhm.
don't need to know, people don't pay me to tell them what I think about this or that." She goes, "They pay me to sing." And I love that approach because I think sometimes we all get a little bit too high on ourselves and
Mhm.
think that we need to put our stuff out there when really we just need to sing music.
That's what I do. Entertain here on the show. Her business acumen is amazing. Love it so much. And people pay me to do interviews, which is great. And I love doing music. And so I never get into politics on this show. Dolly's smart. You guys are smart. What they pay you for is to sing, which is great out there. And you do what
Yeah.
you do best too. We'll take our final time out. I'm going to come back and talk to Dean about an album I love so much, Party Heard Around the World, which I'm sure the guys don't talk about much anymore. But there's a certain song off there that I'm going to actually highlight here on the Backstage Pass. You'll find out more when you come back here. Presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out, bangtail.com. Also, Honky Tonk Texas. More with Dean Sams of Lone Star. It is the Backstage Pass. Coming right back. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish. And back here with Dean Sams on the Backstage Pass final segment here on a Monday, July 17th. And of course, tomorrow, tune in tomorrow. Fantastic singer, songwriter, and I believe she's got her own podcast now. Miko Marks is going to join us here on the Backstage Pass. Big time artist out there doing some really cool things. You know, speaking of the new artists, I got to ask you, when it comes to listening to something in the car, streaming something, is there maybe one or two or three of these newer artists out there now, male or female, that's kind of got you interested in maybe their presentation, their songwriting, kind of what they're doing? Who are some of those new artists that are doing it for you right now?
Well, there's a lot of them that I think are great on a band side, and I don't even know that they're considered new anymore. But Old Dominion, I just love what they're doing, man. I love the fact that they're a true band. I mean, they write their songs, they play all their instruments, they sing all their vocals, and they really are putting out great stuff. I love that. On the female side, I love what Lainey Wilson's doing. I mean, she's, once again, she's one of those people, I don't know if everybody knows, but she's put in the time here in Nashville. I mean, she was told no by everybody in this town, and she just kept slugging away and never gave up. And she's the true definition of, you just keep working at it and good things will happen. And she did that. So I'm happy for her. And then a little curveball I'm going to throw in, because he's brand new and he's kind of just becoming, people are really starting to pay notice, and a lot of great things are happening for him. But my nephew, his name's Ty Myers. He actually lives in the Austin area, and he just turned 16 years old, but he's turning heads like crazy. He has a song called Tie That Binds that got, in just a couple weeks, got over 650,000 streams. And so Spotify flagged him and said that, unusual streams or whatever, and pulled it for a minute. But it's just because it's really blowing up in a big, big way. So he's doing really great things. So I hope everybody out there checks out Ty Myers. He's got a really great future ahead of him, and he's got some big folks here in Nashville that he's just signed on with, and big manager, and every record label out there is wanting him, and so big things are coming for him. So y'all check out Ty Myers.
I'm going to definitely check him out too. Probably get him here on the show, talk about all this good stuff here, which is fantastic too. And congratulations to him, and things are going well. Hey, I want to go back to a couple songs off that Party Heard Around the World record. And one that always stuck out to me was Making Memories. And I think that was just something that really describes what life is all about. And I guess, through the trials and tribulations. How did this one originate? Because I thought it was some really great songwriting in that particular tune.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever been a part of writing. And I think visually every line in that song, you can see it, and it's tangible. And I feel like from the very beginning of it, Michael's guitar part, that it's very droning, like it pulls you in from the minute you hear what he plays, and then the storyline of just the narrator telling how he remembers like every part of their story from the moment, uh, from them walking on the beach holding hands together to, I mean, every line, you see it, you feel it. And I love songs like that. And I'm just proud that I got to be a part of that one.
Off that same record too, Dean, I one that really is going to stick out for me, and I'll pass down to my daughter. And this is just great music that, again, you never can duplicate this. Only you guys can put your special touch on this. Was Making Memories, and of course the other one, Let Me Love You, which I thought was another fantastic song that really is going to stick out for many generations to come. What was the backstory on that one?
Well, Let Me Love You was I think the only song on that record that we didn't write. And, but once again, that had such a powerful chorus. Once again, that lyric, and I remember filming the video for that one too. Just everything about it. We did it on a rooftop, downtown Nashville, overlooking the city. And that song, it's really us guys telling that special someone, like, you deserve the world. And if you let me love you, and I'm gonna treat you this way, and I'm gonna give you all the love and attention that you deserve in life. And I think that every woman out there, it's how they should be treated, and it's what we should say to them and what we should do for them. And I think this song is a great reminder.
No doubt too. Like I said, love all that too. And I got a chance to experience the Grand Ole Opry for the first time there, and you know all about this when it came down to it. Back in March, I took my team out there for the first time. Heard about it for so many years, and watched it on several different media outlets out there. Of course, WSM, and of course, just really had to experience it up front. So I just went out there, bought me a ticket, caught the whole lineup there back in March, and I think everybody that steps on that stage, either for the first time or the 10th time or 15th time, it never gets old for them, because they realize how you're really enshrined there as a member of that, or a solo artist or a band. Just talk about how special, even today, I tell people, go catch the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, I don't think you can call yourself a real bona fide successful country artist unless you've had the privilege and pleasure of walking on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. And whether it's actually at the Grand Ole Opry or on the Ryman, which is where the Grand Ole Opry originated, both are such iconic places. And we've had the opportunity to be on there many times in our career, and hopefully we have many more to do. But it's a moment and a feeling that it's indescribable. But it's one of those that the audience, I think, has those same chills that the artist does, because they know that they're in hallowed grounds, and they're in an amazing space where iconic performances have happened, and they know that when they're there, they're going to see another great performance, because there's so much talent that crosses those stages. And sometimes I love the fact that the Opry, they showcase new talent, maybe people that you don't know, but they're amazing. And that's what I really love about the Opry. They embrace the old and the new and everything in between. And that's why they've been, one of the longest running shows in country music history.
Yeah, it fills up fast, no doubt. It's pretty cool to be there in front of 10 to 15,000 people every night to do what it does and the impact it has on country music. So I will be going back hopefully next year's CRS and catching it for a second time too. All right, John, level of fun. Mentioned here in the final segment too. So when Dean and the boys are not doing music, what do you guys like to do for fun? What are some of the hobbies?
Wow. It'll be different for each one of us, but I'll tell you, Keach, our drummer, he is a great woodworker. Like, he has all these woodworking tools. He makes signs and wood spoons and bowls, and he's really gifted at that. I mean, he does a lot of things, but that's one thing that jumped in my brain that he does. And so a lot of people should check him out if they want some of that stuff from Keach. Go, I don't know exactly what his website is, but you can find him on Facebook or Instagram. And he'll do something for you. He does great work. Michael, His nickname is Dr. Kemper. So Dr. Kemper, there's this little box, I'm gonna call it a little magical box, that can take guitar amps, and he does what is called profiling. So like he has done some of the most iconic amps in the world, and he models them, and then he's created his own pack of sounds and stuff. He is Mr. Tone. I mean, he is amazing. And so like all these big rock iconic guitar players and country iconic guitar players reach out to him for this Kemper to help them get his sounds, which is really cool. So that's something he does on the side outside of the band. Drew, he ironically, there are so many very successful Texas artists that Drew sings all the backgrounds on their records. And people don't even know, but Drew sings a lot of backgrounds on a lot of Texas artists' records. And Parker McCullum is one of them. He sang on his stuff, and he sang on, I mentioned my nephew Ty Myers earlier. He sang on his new stuff. So he does that. And me personally, I do a lot of producing, a lot of writing, but for fun, I love to get out on my Harley and just ride out in the country, in the foothills, and just take in the scenery and just clear my mind. That's one of my favorite things I love to do.
I love that too. All right, when you guys are on the road, are there specific places to, like, hole in the wall places to kind of stop and try the cuisine or try the food out there too? What do you guys love to eat on the road?
Well, now I'm trying to think if there's one of these in the Houston area. I think there is now, but so there's, when we're out on the West Coast, we always have to go to In-N-Out Burger.
Oh yeah.
Now I know Whataburger. We're big Whataburger guys too. So usually we're in Texas, we're doing Whataburger. When we're out west, we're doing In-N-Out. But there's also this place out west. They haven't made it too far east yet. I don't even think they've gotten to Texas yet, but it's called Cafe Rio. It's like Mexican place, but they like make the tortillas fresh right there in front of you. And it's kind of like an assembly, like a Chipotle or something like that, but they make all the stuff fresh right there, and they're making the tortillas and stuff. And man, that place, if they had one right next door, I'd be 723 pounds.
Love that on the number, no doubt. I tell you what, it's been a great career, 31 years and counting, and this album is fantastic out there too. Reliving some of those country classics out there, 10 number ones. That's why it's called 10-1. The vinyl, I can't wait I'll have to just figure out how to get a copy of that, to be honest with you, Dean. I'm looking forward to get a copy of that to purchase, and definitely all the digital streaming is out there across all the platforms. And of course, make sure you guys check them out at a city near you at LoneStarNow.com for the tour dates and everything out there. Dean, sure appreciate the time. Great to chat. And my friend, looking forward to catching up at a concert at some point down the road, no doubt.
Thank you. I really appreciate all your time. I want to tell you, since you haven't seen a show yet, and I'll tell all your fans and listeners, come see a Lone Star show. It's the best show we've put out on the road to coincide with our 10-1 record. For the first time in our career, all 10 of the number one songs are in the show, which we've never done before, which is really crazy to think about. We haven't put them all in one show because we used to always try to put out new stuff, but they get all 10 of the number ones plus a few surprises. It is a great, great show. Come check it out. And once again, thanks for all your time.
You got it. Dean Sams with the group Lone Star out there too. Tomorrow, Miko Marks here on the Backstage Pass. Until then, have a great night. Check us out at the sportsguyspodcast.com, also hightidecountry.net. And of course, Clay Hollis, Texas artist, coming on Thursday of this week. And we'll have more on the Backstage Pass in the coming weeks as we get closer to football season here at the sportsguyspodcast.com. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great night.